You said exaggerated, but I think that your position, as you are an independent thinker, you are a non-Indian, you are a non-political person, so that way your influence is really more matters. So don't you think that since the new education policy is under discussion, and have you seen that something on this regard about study of comparative religion or rewriting of Indian history, is it there in their agenda to set it right?
I haven't been given those papers and I haven't seen those agendas at this point. I will try to find out more about them. This last trip to India, I've only been here since the 10th of October. We've been pushing these issues for decades, and they know that. And I think the work is going done. A lot has to be done behind the scenes, and a lot has to be done politically. For example, you really couldn't take Ayodhya before Kashmir. You have to understand that. So step by step. And now I think we go, I have some faith in Modi that we have to go forward and we have to trust their judgment in certain areas and be a little patient. At the same time, you do need to always give positive feedback, and you have to also give constructive criticism if you feel it is necessary. But there's a difference between constructive criticism, and sometimes Hindus get very defeated. Oh, even with Modi, we can't get this and we can't get that. Why don't we quit? See, that doesn't inspire anyone. We are winning the battle. We are going forward. We have made tremendous gains in the 30 years I've watched things. And so we need to maintain that positive spirit. At the same time, we have to recognize there are major obstacles. Some of them are inside India, some of them are international, or the alliance between the leftist and India with outside groups. So you can't underestimate your enemy at any point, even if it seems to be someone idiotic like Rahul Gandhi. You can't underestimate the potential for more going on. But I would say we should create the material and the ideas so that it is there. It is there to draw upon. And to some extent, we have produced books on history and other things. For Ram Swarup and Sitaram Gol, I always said, get us selected works, 250 pages, and release that. And that is an introduction. And then you can bring in other works from there. And also long-term create more alliances between these different institutions. These things are going on, and I hope that many young people, in fact, many young people are taking this up.
Doing this.
And so let us have
yes,
a
this is very
positive
important.
view of the future,
Yes.
because the future is moving towards us, but at the same time, the world is getting more complex. And there's a lot of confusion in Europe and the United States that can blow back on India to some degree, although the Indo-American population, UK, United States, is becoming more powerful. And let us think that we had visionaries like Ram Swarup and Sitaram Gol at a time when there were no voices, so that people had something to work on, and that even today we can go back and see how they were correct and the other people were wrong. So that legacy has to be honored. And I think the best way to honor that legacy is to continue with the writing, the teaching, and the critique. We have a tradition of debate. And someone says, well, I've noticed, for example, that Hindus are not allowed to criticize Islam or Christianity, even by other Hindus, because they feel that's offensive. But yet these other people are criticizing you, and it's not a criticism, it's also what we call a critique. They are taking in an open forum, they're exposing your limitations and telling people why you shouldn't follow Hindu Dharma. Now, if there's nobody to represent Hindu Dharma there, it's like abandoning the battlefield. But if we create a critique, particularly at a philosophical and theological level, they're very weak. Their strength is with their social alliances. But Christian theology and Islamic theology, with one God, with heaven and hell, with believers and non-believers, a jealous God, with final prophet, virgin birth, they can't hold a candle to the Vedantic insights of higher consciousness and self-realization, or even Buddhist insights into the mind. So that's what Ram Swarup was doing, a critique of these traditions at theological, psychological, and philosophical, and cosmological level. Hindu cosmology is like modern physics. Islamic or Christian theology. They had a flat earth. They had living 5,000, 6,000 year calendar, all of that. And we also have to be willing to redefine Hindu Dharma, not let them do it, and then also reform it in certain areas that it may be necessary, and to also bring out all the connections of Hindu Dharma via art, music, medicine, philosophy, science, mathematics, all of it, so we gain a relevance that goes beyond. And of course, we do have support of a spread of yoga, Vedanta, Buddhism, Sanskrit worldwide. It can be very naive and misinterpreted in some areas, but there is a positive opening for that as well. So we also need to expand, not simply defend, but expand the teachings and expand the Dharma. My rule is 2/3 offense and 1/3 defense. You have to have the defense, but at the same time, you have to expand the teachings. I think Ram Sarup also expanded a lot of the teachings as well. Sitaram Gol was more raising that voice that we have to respond. We can't just simply be quiet, and we have to have a powerful critique, and we have to use the weapons of the age, which is the intellectual power, now social media, and all the other forms of media. So I think if we do that, we can make great gains, and I think publications and even programs like this are going to help. And we also have to remember that we often have to do it ourselves. There's certain limitations as to what governments can do, and also there's a lot of, these other organizations have a lot of support, so we have to build up our own support network, which is occurring. And we have to have a sense of camaraderie and brotherhood or sisterhood. And what I say is try to support anyone who is helping Hindu Dharma in some way. It may not be what you want to do. You may think it's deficient in some areas, but if it's at least positive in a certain light, let's push that forward. And of course, Ram Sarup and Sitaram Gol were key voices in this entire Hindu movement.
Yeah, you said very important things that in the last 30 years, there has been very considerable gains, and we should not be impatient. Whoever is doing something, we should try to support them. So on this positive note, I would like to thank you very much. It has been an honor to talk with you and about the great subjects, Sitaram Goel and Ram Sarup.